Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Katie, and my channel here is called Planning My Energy because I have several chronic illnesses that I deal with. And yeah, so I look at planning in terms of how much energy when I wake up that I can put towards a task or there's days that sometimes I need to stay in bed. What can I get done there? Or do I just need to take the day off? So when it comes to goals, it can be really tricky. Besides not feeling well or, having flare-ups or migraines or anything like that, or just sometimes depressive episodes, it can also I'm also neurodivergent, and so I have a lot of trouble sometimes with people or goals, an authority of some kind telling me what to do. Now, I do follow a lot of rules. So, like when we moved to the Netherlands this last year, um, you know, when the government says you have to do these things to get this visa, that's no problem, right? You do this thing, then this thing, this thing, and yay, you get approved. Um, but there's something else about a goal that you're holding yourself accountable to that, I don't know, it's a little harder, I guess. And so last year I made a video. Well, the last couple years, I've been making videos about goals and about a matrix that you can use in different instances. You can either really focus on goals, or you can kind of let them go, or you can be somewhere kind of in between. So my inspiration came from Sterling Inc. Their matrix here. Catherine put this matrix together for a goal breakdown, where you can define your goal and then like what you can do if you break it down to 1 year, half year, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. And many people had trouble, like, how do you use this? She did put out some information on how she uses it. I mainly saw this, and someone else had put a bunch of little colored, transparent sticky tabs in there. And I just liked how beautiful all the colors were. And so I did that, and I'll insert a photo of what I did the very first year. And it was really fun to take the Moxie Life categories that I was used to. I had used the Moxie Life probably the couple years before that. So I already had like yellow meant personal, red meant work, that kind of thing. So I was able to put all 8 across the top and then break them down as they went across. So I did not use these categories here. And it's hard to go, okay, I think the whole year is going to be like this. And if I hit this quarterly, then I'm going to hit the half year. Like it was hard to leave room for mistakes and low energy and flare-ups and all these, and life happening, and kids and being a parent and all that kind of stuff. So last year I put out a video saying no goals. So taking a look at sections of your life and not having them so goal oriented. And I revisited it and had kind of a similar thing. So this is last year's planner, 2025. And I broke it down to 7 different, definitely a lot of the Moxie Life ones. Which one came out? I think spiritual's not in here because it's not really a concern of mine. And so I kept the color code, and then I also used these little strips. So it's basically these two, and I'll have links below. These come in many different colors, not all colors. Come here. So there are a lot of colors, but there's also some missing colors. Like there's really not much green on here, but they worked, you know, for what I needed them to do. I think I switched to like a teal here, so you can see. So, and then that's when I made my insert here on the side, and I called it the energy matrix. And so I have high energy, medium energy, and low energy. And then I left these two blank. And I felt like I could define my categories. And then in each of those categories, what could I do that are things that are strategies? So last year's video was called No Goals, Just Strategies. So these are strategies, not goals. There's nothing particularly in here that's like, if I do this, then I've achieved my goal. To start off, if I had high energy one day and I wanted to do some more travel, so travel, trip, movie, museum, that's something like I could tackle that day. Obviously, I'd probably have to plan that in advance, but I don't have a goal saying I'm going to go to this many museums this year, like 3, or travel to 2 different cities. Like I didn't have any goals like that. So it was more like what feels the best and what am I capable of? And then if it was like a medium energy day, so this is all creativity, right? This is refilling my bucket, creation, experiences. I could do watercolor, markers, digital, causes that I feel passionate about. And then if I had a low energy day, I could watch a documentary about art, about just things that are important about nature, anything that I want to research, or things on YouTube. So this is like what I could do on the high, medium, and low days. Then I added to me what made sense, and you could add anything you want to. For spinning, I have ADHD, but I'm also autistic. So there are times when my ADHD starts spinning. My brain starts going into overdrive, and there's so many possibilities. I did have a question in the comments about kind of recently, someone who had picked up on this same video from last year and was asking, what is the difference between spinning and stuck? Because spinning can be like your wheels are spinning in the mud and you're not going anywhere, so you're stuck. And you can use any kinds of words here that you want, but I wanted to put something that was kind of polar opposites, just to kind of extract like, what is my brain here or here today? And spinning for me is like, I have too many ideas. There's too many ways I could get started. I don't know where to start. All the shoulds come up in my brain. All the expectations come up in my brain. I feel like I could do something equally 2 different ways, and I need to ground myself. So here it's like shoes on. When I'm putting on my shoes, my brain clicks into, okay, I'm in active mode, and there's something I can take action on physically. So if I put my shoes on, I'm more likely to leave the house, to maybe go on a quick trip somewhere to a museum or something. That I'm, if I have my camera in hand, it's kind of having something point you in the right direction from all the options. Or if I get organized about something, if I take a moment and to just organize my desk because there's just so much clutter I'm seeing that I don't know where to start, that's another way I can stop spinning. But then when I'm stuck, I'm like, I don't want to move. This is beyond low energy. This is like, no, there's really something that maybe I just can't take action on right now. And so often I'll have like creative ideas in the shower. those shower thoughts, right? They have something a little magical about like going into a space where you don't have access to your devices, usually, unless you're playing music or a podcast or something in there. And it just kind of clicks your brain into just considering things. Like you don't have to go into deep thought, especially if you're low energy, but just something I just get like, I never thought about it that way kind of thoughts in there. Maybe some quiet time, maybe staring out a window. Those kind of things can kind of get me unstuck in like, I'm not moving at all. So I'm not going to go over all of these, but I have a whole video on these, but just to kind of differentiate between my two definitions of words that I decided to put in these columns. Again, you could put something completely different. You could leave them blank. You know, you don't have to fill them out at all. So anyway, you can also, this was last year's as well. I made it horizontal in my A5 Slim here. And I did this for work and I had it as, okay, these are the goals. Like I had to have some kind of a goal for work though, because you have to keep things moving. So I'm like, oh, the categories of my work are YouTube lives, Instagram, podcast, coaching, clients, newsletter, admin. And so then I just defined what I could do under those categories with high, medium, and low energy. Like, and some of these things I did later, redoing my coaching website. It's redone now. Like there's things that I've done. The podcast is going to start up again, but it was, and like here, low energy for YouTube, I can put a thumbnail together. So it's really interesting to have like, you don't have to have polar opposites here. I just wanted to name, categories, what I can do, these strategies here that I can use on days that I'm having these type of energy levels. And then having one small goal at the bottom so that I can initiate myself to get it going, to just kind of take that next step because it's hard. Sometimes an autistic brain is like, nope, or an ADHD, like it's a neurodivergent brain sometimes has a lot of trouble getting started. And I can too. Definitely, I see that within myself. So those are ways to use the matrix that way. And I do want to reiterate, I've said this, the past couple years, is you can draw this in your planner. It is not something, these downloads are not too expensive, and I love something that's just kind of formatted and clean, but you could definitely just take, a gridded page and draw this out yourself using how many squares you want. You could stretch it out to be a whole spread. You can do whatever you want. But I just find that I can use this matrix in multiple ways. So this year, I am separating out personal and work goals. And I'm challenging myself here because, as I said, I don't do the best with goals because dictating authority over me, dictating authority upon myself. But also, it can be really hard momentum-wise to see that you're not reaching certain goals. I used to get, and still do, get very discouraged when I try to plan out a goal and then I'm just not meeting it. What this last year has provided me was we knew at the end of last year that we wanted to move to the Netherlands, and that is a huge goal. Yet I put out a video saying no goals, just strategies, right? So it's something where it helps to be unstructured, and it also helps to have a singular goal. And I can also recognize that that singular goal is like a sum of so many different parts, right? So we made it here. All those goals to get rid of things, to reorganize, to we shredded so many documents that we had been saving for so many years. We had over 20 years of married life and into parenthood of things that we had kept around from several moves. You know, those boxes that go from place to place? This was the time where all of those were going. We don't have them anymore. And it's very, very enlightening and to see what's necessary, and also really thrilling to just not have to worry about that anymore. And then when we got here, there were several goals: our visa, our bank accounts, our like schooling, and so many things, right? So I can't say no goals anymore, but as you can see, you don't have to have goals. I feel like the last couple of years, it was great to step away from goals because I was very much in the Moxie Life world of like, make them manageable, but have goals for a lot of different things. And I had to pull back from that and then make one of the biggest goal-oriented years of doing everything anyway. So I could still use those strategies, you know, as we were moving. There were times where I could only record a little bit and move on, you know, here on my channel, and not, you know, I wasn't putting out newsletters. I wasn't doing the podcast. There were things that I just couldn't do for a while. So, but now I want to return to some of them. And how do I gently go into these goals? And how do I have fun with these goals too? I went through and I let go of the categories. I first really focused on having a mood board, a intention board, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to put something visual together that felt good. And these have meanings that may not make sense to you, but I'll talk through them a little bit. We are in an area here in the Netherlands that has some local parks and nature. So we have like some trees and the ocean nearby. Well, it's not an ocean, it's a sea, technically. But I have yet to see a red squirrel here. I wanted to go really, really simple for one of my goals. And I didn't actually even list it out on the side here, but I want something that if I gain momentum by this, I don't know, I just needed something that was really simple and that it's going to bring me a whole lot of joy when I see one. So I knew that I needed a goal that gave me momentum into other things so that when I check it off, I'm like, hey, I hit one of my goals. It could be learning how to bake a new kind of cookie. It could be going to a store that you haven't gone to before, or just exploring your neighborhood, visiting a restaurant that you never have before, trying new food. I don't know. Like there's many, many small things. Driving to a new park that you haven't been to, introducing yourself to someone. Like, what is a really, really small goal that kind of helps you tap into your humanity of who you are and what you enjoy? Maybe you haven't gone roller skating in a long time, and it'd be nice to just do that once for yourself. I don't know. That's why I'm like kind of focused on kind of easy things here. Another year is that we're focused on getting to that point. At the end of 2026, we'll be about 3 months away from starting to renew our visa here. So my biggest goal is that through this year, knowing that we're going to renew, we want to use all that momentum to carry us forward and get that renewal and stay longer. It's not too hard, but it also needs a lot kind of lined up ahead of that time as well, just to keep everything on track so we can stay. And this was to remind myself that you can get cozy during the winter months here, because the beginning of the year is much like Seattle. It's going to be dark and gray and kind of cold. Might see a little flurries here and there. We're not like, we can handle the darker days, so it's not too much of a concern, but just knowing that we can kind of snug in and read books. Reading books is part of my goal, but audiobooks, savings, and this is chiropractic care. I've been getting quite a few sessions in. I've been feeling a lot better. So continuing that and then starting to stretch it out, but also knowing that with that support, if I'm doing other things at home, like I got a laptop stand so I'm not hunched over anymore, or getting a new chair, or sitting certain ways, or sleeping certain ways, like there's things that I can do to keep this success going. That just a variety of foods. I'm not being restrictive, and I'm not saying like I have to eat certain things. I mean, that's restrictive in a way, but like adding new things. It may be that textures of some of the new foods I may not like, but I need to sample. But there's new foods here that we're really enjoying, and just adding more of that and just having like a rainbow of options. I know last year, one of the pictures that I got was just of these like fresh looking tacos here. But so just bright, new, and satisfying. Like the colors and the textures in that just made it look really appetizing, and just trying new things. And this is, to me, like looking at a bunch of other dishes. And I felt like we did pretty good, trying a bunch of new things. And now it's just making sure kind of you're getting a variety of different things. Here is learning to speak Dutch. So this says, do you speak Dutch? And I want to answer yes towards the end of the year, as in very, very, very basic. It's going to take 5 years for me to be able to just walk into a place and even have a conversation with somebody. But I want to be able just to talk at like a grocery store and do the very basics. And I have watched some really good YouTube videos on it, but I need to practice more. So, let's see, learn Dutch here, feeling much better talking in public. So I don't like hold back, like I can actually speak with some confidence. And then just using my planner. And then this here is people singing near a Christmas tree. And what happened was a couple nights ago, there was a Christmas Eve sing-along on our street at 10:30 at night, and I really wanted to go. Well, my ADHD brain forgot, and I was doing some other things to comfort myself and to like take a load off, and I was playing just an online game. And then I came out and I was so proud. I made a certain achievement in there, and I looked at the clock and it was over, and I was crushed. I was just so sad. Because I wouldn't have gone down and sang, but I wanted to watch. I wanted to just see what it was like. It was very much a Dr. Seuss kind of Whoville. They're circling around the tree singing. At least I think so. But I want to go next year, and I made that like a goal. I'm like, wait, I need to make that one of my goals. And it's part of having a whole nother year here. I also put 3 places here I like to go to since we are in Europe now. And then I realized my mom wants to go to a 4th place. And that's not even on here, and we're more likely to go to that place. So I might print out a little picture and then maybe make a little flap or something and see what we'll get to. So this is Spain, France, and London, England, because they're fairly easy to get to from here. But yeah, she wants to go somewhere else entirely, and I forgot to put it on here. But here's the thing, your goals can change. Your goals can change. It's okay. So this doesn't have to be perfect, but it has enough on it to get me rolling. And that when I check in on it, there's enough here to go, oh, it can kind of keep me in check going, oh, I forgot about that. I wanted to do more audiobooks. So I really want to read more books. And so this is how I use the matrix here. I wanted to kind of explain the photos here first. I have the goal here. So instead of categories, I wrote goal. And it kind of, I guess, is the category because I break it down a little bit more. But then I also put here, I wanted to define what it means to have that goal done. Like, what does it actually mean to be done? And can that be gentle on me and not be like, if I don't meet this huge goal, then I failed. So it's kind of like a halfway done so I can celebrate it. So the goal in photography, if I had high energy, would be a long walk in nature, taking a bunch of photos and video. Medium would be like a short walk around town. It doesn't have to be like deep in the woods or on the shore, but just around the area and just take some local photos. If I'm really low energy, I can see what I can take photos of indoors, because even just out from the inside looking out our windows can be really beautiful. Just noticing little details of like, and I don't have to share all of them. These are just like to practice, but maybe I just want to take a picture of my coffee in the morning, how maybe the sun is coming through the window, if the sun is coming through, a made bed, a fresh, pastry. I don't know, just like little things. And then when is it done? So adding more to videos. So actually sharing more, taking some of those photos and videos, putting them in some of my own videos, maybe sharing them on Instagram, just kind of sharing them more often, because I don't want to say like I took a picture a day. I don't want to say I have like an album per week. It's not a quantity thing. It's that I feel more confident with the media that I'm creating to share it more often. So let's go on to another one. Learning Dutch. High energy is definitely like in a class, practicing one-on-one. That takes a lot of energy for me, especially with my ADHD brain and like spinning, and I don't remember a lot of things. I need it kind of written down. It takes a lot. I know it takes a lot of energy. Medium energy is like watching videos so that I'm still kind of learning. Maybe low energy is like checking a few things every day on an app. But again, I don't want to do it every day. It's just when I have kind of low energy, but have a practice that's a routine. That's kind of, and the whole thing here though, this whole thing is a system, right? So it's a strategy so that whatever happens, I can keep on with my one goal. So feeling much better talking in public. So amazing food here, different kinds. On a high energy day, maybe just going to the market only and creating the whole dinner from the market. Medium energy, looking up like 3 new recipes to try for the week or the month. Like I don't have a set like parameters to it, so that, but looking up 3 is quite a few, right? It's like, you're not just doing one new one a week. but at the low energy, maybe just adding one. And then new recipes are going to be in rotation that we're using quite often is, to me, like I can look at my meals, and that's actually what I'm going to track right here in the Faded Chronicle. And last year when I was using my previous year, I love using like the page here before the month to just list out all the meals that we had. So this list will be, you know, how I start out the year. But when I get here and I'm in October, this kind of meals, these meals listed here, hopefully have kind of shifted to have, you know, more fermented foods, more greens, more, you know, variety of things, but yet things we haven't tried here too. So, and I don't feel like we're too far off either. So, yeah. What else? Feeling, let's see. So the thriving part here overall, feeling more solid in our life because, you know, we're still navigating a lot of bumpy things here. But if we're traveling more, to me, that's a sign that we're pretty stable here. We have energy, resources, projects lined up, like a safety net to be able to go to places. And so I did reference here for traveling. So the traveling is one of them for high energy because you need a lot of energy to travel. But I also put travel here. And I'm like, if we go to 3 new countries this next year, then that's very like high energy. That's amazing. But low energy is just like 1 new country. So Switzerland is the one that's not listed here. But I'm kind of looking at it as if we make it to 1, it'll probably be Switzerland. If we make it to 2, it'd probably be this one and this one. And if we make it to 3, it's all 3. So if you kind of see like I'm building up, it's kind of like those online, well, it's kind of like a Patreon tiers, right? You get everything from the previous tier plus the next tier, right? So that's why I kind of look at these as like I get everything in low energy plus the medium energy one, if that is how I'm going to do things. But is my goal done? 1 is all it takes. So going to 1 new country is all it takes. So reading, oh, did I put this? No, I did it the same way. So just like travel, low energy is like 3 books a year. Medium is like 1 book a month. And then 1 book every 1 to 2 weeks is like high energy. It's going to be like a combination because over the year, I'm going to go through high and low energy times. So ending the year with just reading 1 book is a win for me. So again, very gentle goals. And the last one, journal and plan in my new business one that I'm going to go over next. I'm not going to go into much detail because I think you can see how these goals, you can see how the personal goals can be very gentle and very like, here's what I'm hoping for this next year. Calligraphy is one thing I want to, calligraphy or like script writing is something I want to practice. Excuse me. And I can practice every day if I'm high energy. Let's see, once every couple days or once a week. And when I know it's done, my calligraphy is improving and is part of my routine, and I'm using it in my planning. So in my plan with me, I want to be able to write my own kind of like titles for some of these boxes and lists that I'm making. And I want that to become like a normal thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not trying to create huge pieces of script writing art. It's just to put it as titles in my journal. So I wanted to kind of go through these, as I said, to give you an idea, but also to kind of, I don't know, I feel like these are very gentle. They're very nurturing. They're strong indicators that things are on track. And yeah, my word is thriving for personal. Now for business, I'm just going to briefly kind of show these. It helps a lot to see numbers. And so I actually put in some numbers here of my goals for what I want my YouTube channel to hopefully go to. And that's a lot for my little channel. I'm about halfway though. But it's taken several years to get here. But I also know that this last year I had to sit back. I think I could have broken like maybe 3K here. Again, it's a baby channel. It's not, for some that's pretty big and for some that's pretty small, and everyone's on their own journey, right? So for me and where I would love to see things, I see that I have this year to focus on business instead of focusing on moving internationally. And so I think if I have different tools here, because I'm going to open up my Patreon very soon, like in conjunction with both of those, and then also having different content videos, because I've had to pull back and only do the plan with me's. And I feel like if I step forward again into these more talking videos, it can help. This is the calligraphy one here. And I kind of was like, wait, that should be over here, but it's also for business. It's on both. Some of the photos here is like using this rings planner. I really want to focus on that, and also, you know, coming up with some more designs for my downloadables, doing some coaching and some cheerleading of my clients, getting my podcast up and going again. I do a lot of video editing, making money in this country, and let's see, my online web shop, printables, and I do a lot of printing to test things out. And then live streaming. Sometimes it's just on my phone. Sometimes it's, anyway, it's just a lot of technology and stuff. So I have the goal here, and then I have, you know, Patreon, YouTube and stuff. And then I broke it down. And then what does it look like when it's done? So calligraphy, feel comfortable doing headings, just like what I talked about. And coaching, I would love 10 clients, but having like 5 to 10 clients at the end of the year that are active and going. Biz planner. So one of my goals is to use this more and to keep things more separate. I tried to have 2 planners last year. It just didn't work because we were moving. And so now to be able to focus on like, hey, I'm going to really focus on planning ahead more content-wise. I'm going to practice writing down what I'm doing for the week. I feel like this system is very inviting. It's more inviting than last year, and it's keeping it really simple. So again, it's a matrix. It's going this way. You can easily turn them this way as well, as I showed you in the other one. But goals, how do I like wrap this up? It can be really hard. It can be really hard to do all of this. And it can be really hard. Like this took at least a week just to put together. I would add a few pictures and then add a few things and subtract. I'm like, wait, that's not a goal of mine. That's not really where I want to be. And in 2 weeks' time, I'll probably maybe X one out, but then I could actively just cut out another photo and just glue it on top. It's easier digital, right? If your planner is totally in a digital space, so much easier, so much easier. I guess I look at it as What would make me sad at the end of the year if I didn't try? If I didn't try, it's not that I achieved it, but if I didn't at least try. And trying to find a red squirrel, maybe that's my thing of the year. And yeah, stay as soon as I do, I will include that on a video because it'll just be, a fun thing to share. Because I'm trying to invite more fun. And that's kind of like, actually, I just did a plan with me here for the next week. Here, where'd it go? It's right here, where I have another new goal of writing a really fun memory from my childhood or just before this point that just brought me a lot of joy. And I want to do that every week. And yeah, I find that I'm looking at this going, what can bring me more joy personal? And then having my work goals, like this doesn't have to be surrounded by joy, but they do have to be interlocking pieces. So the last part I wanted to go into was then how do you take this? Like these are breaking it down some, but then how do you translate that? So the Faded Chronicle, I have to get used to saying Faded Chronicle this year, has a quarterly, which is somewhat similar to other planners. Like this will look very similar. This year, this is just going to be my media planner. I kind of penciled it in there. So I don't have to worry about this for my goals. But kind of like Moxie Life, I want to write 3 goals that I'm focusing on here. And I love, as I was saying, these stickers are a whole lot of fun. And they fit in these circles. I don't know how well they fit in the B6 or the TN that she put out. I don't know if the circles are smaller, but maybe they fit just right in the smaller ones. I don't know. What I want to do here is like, what are the things I can focus on? Well, let's start with the squirrel, right? I mean, why not? Okay, I just went through these goals here, and I think I might end up just taping these together so I can look back and forth. But I picked the ones that I felt like I could tackle during the first quarter and being very gentle with myself. And first one, learning Dutch. I want to find the best app. I have looked at so many different apps, and some of them work with my brain and some just do not. So I'm still trying to kind of find the app that I can use like on a low energy day. We need to sign up at the library because they have some classes and books. Like we can get like really simple books to look through. I can anyway. My neighbor she's on a quest to learn more as well. And so we can kind of do that together. My son is already in immersion school, so I can run some things past him. Not to be annoying at all, but just to I ask him in the evening sometimes around dinner time, hey, is this how you say this? What's the word for this? So it's a quick, minute or two thing. But watch children's videos. That was working for me for a little while. And then practice. Mainly, I want to practice all the words and phrases that you would use to make purchases in store, for the transaction. So like, do you need a bag? Do you need anything else? Like if they're asking me those questions, I know what they are. So the squirrel I'm combining with photos because it actually is kind of the same thing. So I need to walk in the woods or walk to the market or go with my neighbor who she's been wanting to get me over there. She's amazing. So it's really something that we can kind of connect on a couple different things there. And then my chiro appointments, finish my assigned sessions, which go through the end of February. I could actually kind of circle them here, which is kind of nice to have this all together. Then I'm going to start stretching out the sessions. So I go once a week, because I've done chiropractic for a very long time and I didn't need to go multiple times a week. So then I'll go maybe every other, or then go once a month. And then also incorporate some yoga into that so I can kind of stretch as well, some just very gentle yoga things. So this is where I've taken these, and I'll still use so the photography and the squirrel. I can do the long walk, I can do a short walk, but I can also, I do some photography of birds in the area, so I can go out to the terrace and get some fresh air and just take some photos that way. So that's something actually I could put on here just in case. Even in the rain, I can put on my rain jacket and just be out there as long as it's not too cold. Yeah, so those still align here. And then that's looking at the quarter. And this is kind of similar to what Moxie Life does. You have your annual goals, you go to your quarterly goals, and then you go to your weekly, and then you see how like that can be incorporated into your daily. So my other downloadable is this energy planner here. So I have the matrix and the energy planner. This one I printed on a shorter piece of paper. That's why it's just not the full width there. But when I am kind of coming up for stuff for the month, I used to use it kind of for the week. So I would insert it here, like in between like the dashboard. So I'd always have it as part of my dashboard. I do a brain dump. If I go, okay, I need to recycle batteries, so I need to take those up to the store. That's a like medium activity because I do have to leave the house, but it's not like strenuous or anything. You just dump them into a bin when you get up there. So I would list like all these things that are just in my head. They can be goal related or not. And then I have, how can hard tasks become easier? So for the batteries that I need to go recycle, is there a way that I can just put on my shoes and have my coat ready? Like, I don't need to bring much with me at all because I'm not buying anything. Or maybe I just need to grab some milk at the store, so I can do both things. That would be a way for me to get momentum and get that thing done. Maybe I'm delegating. So what can be asked of others? So if I'm having like a really bad mental health day, physical health day, can I ask my son or my husband to just go and run those up? Probably. So, and then what's something I could safely wait and do until later? So even though I have goals, they don't all need to be done right now. So if one of these things here is to read 2 audiobooks, let's maybe just do one. Let's push the other thing to the side and go, you know what? I can listen to one while I'm getting some things done. But let's not push ourselves to do more than what we need. And thinking about our mental health, is this media good for my mental health? But that's a whole different thing. So I like to do this for the month just to get my brain dump out. And then like I could be 2 weeks in and go, oh, I want to add some more things that are on my mind. So then I can really assess like, what can I ask other people to do? What could I push into February? So I could put like a little F next to something here because I do want to push it to February. But this is where I would put like going to the library. So I'd have like library here, and that's a little bit more of a high because I need to go, there's extra steps to that. To get a library card, I need to bring identification and I think a utility bill as well, and be prepared to pay for the monthly account. And so just breaking that down, right? Like if I have just library here, I want to put like maybe 3 little bullet points next to it just to know like, okay, that's part of it. But then that would get this quarterly one checked off. So I don't have to do these all in January, right? I can just do a couple each time and have that as part of my brain dump and recognizing what energy level those require. And then I transfer those to what I'm doing here. For now, I'm starting off in this planner, but I'm making like a list of things. Here's my errands, the batteries that I need to take. And this is just admin stuff here. So that'll be like maybe printing out my utility bill, having my ID ready, that kind of thing. And yeah, so that's kind of like the progression I'm going to be using. Again, your tools, it's very similar where you just think of like, what could I do within 3 months that would be gentle to me? And if I had to push them to the next month, I could. Okay, I wanted to show how I fill this out a little bit more because it does help to see kind of examples. So I put the library so we can get a library card and what it actually takes. So it says, how can I make this become easier? I need to check in. I read through the library website, but I need to double check to see what I need to bring and what to expect. I do need to do the end of year finances, and that's not like a goal, but I do need that as part of January. So again, the goals can be here. They can be, kind of keeping a top-down look on things. But when I'm planning or trying to keep track of things that I'm doing for the month, that's what this is. This is like kind of similar to what you would put in here, like, what do I want to get done for the month? Oh, here, look, books, library. So, having this stuff here mixed in with like what's goal oriented, but what's also like just task oriented. We need to clean off our terrace a bit. What could wait? We're still having like very freezing weather, so it's not the best time to go out and do that right now. We did kind of have a warm December at first. So, but right now, oh, that's another thing I want to do. I want to clean windows. This is kind of what I do. Again, this is just going to be more food related things here. Here I can put like a reflection. I put like just pencil this in, but like I can reflect upon how I got some of these really bigger tasks done for the month. But again, you could use this per week, but I find that using it for the month is kind of where I'm at with everything. And then I take those items. So I can put library down here now. So that would be an errand of running over to the library. And then checking library's website. So having checking the library site leads to visiting the library, which leads to getting a library card, which then leads into two of my goals, which is actually reading more audiobooks because I can then download audiobooks from them, but also learning Dutch here. So, and that's part of my quarterly, which then feeds into my yearly. So I hope that that helps to kind of see how different things can kind of coexist together. You can have your own ways of doing these things. Again, my downloads are available at the link below, but you can also possibly a different format. Maybe a grid is not working. Maybe you need a circle or more pie charts or different kinds of lists or something more customized to you, then great, create your own. I also have back here, I created, I copied. So this is actually a layout that I used last year, but I enjoyed this layout so much that this was kind of an overall projects. Now, these weren't goals. These are things that came along that we had to do. So This whole half of the year was decluttering and donations before we moved, and then visiting and getting things like all ready. And then here was moving, and then we needed a sofa. So these were projects that came up, but they can be goal related. But I find that I need to pull back from the goals and just be project oriented. And so I just took the same layout, same boxes. I think the boxes are different sizes slightly. There might be the same. Anyway, I just drew this out in pencil. And for me, I love having some space at the top and bottom. I don't feel like I need to fill out the whole thing. So having that buffering space, but then being able to check off 10 boxes was really helpful. And so I'm just repeating that again. So this can also be part of your planning, but it doesn't necessarily have to be goal related. So if you have no goals, you can use some kind of project-based layout where it could be, now this allows me for 4 projects a month. With a family, that works, and especially with moving. But you could definitely have a totally different layout and even use this front part for projects instead of goals. Like you can have the 3 projects and then you just, like some people would think like, could I like fill up the circle like percentage wise? But I think just writing, your project here and then the steps to do that project. But for me, it helped to see like, even though I'm not checking them off to be 100, I'm seeing how much I'm touching that project and spending energy on it, if that makes sense. So here, I'll bring it up again. So the sofa, although we did have to kind of go back and forth, we did have to return it later and get a different one. There's a bunch of touch points with returning and getting the new one, but getting the first one was like, okay, doing some research and then ordering or having a conversation with my partner about it and then, ordering it and it arriving. So there's not much to start that off. But then when we returned it, it took all these like, hey, we're going to return it. Then they send the emails back and forth and then we arrange the new one. And so I just want to see how complicated it got, like how much energy until it was done, right? Because this sofa continued into the next month here. And then getting my infusions lined up and that kind of stuff. So to me, there were things that I could do more quickly. And it's like, oh, that didn't take as much. But there were things that took the whole, almost like here, getting a new passport, getting new birth certificates. There was so much back and forth with all that. And we kept it going into this next month here into October. So, whoops. I just find that really helpful to be able just to look at projects. Like a goal, I guess, that we had this last year was to get new furniture. So we got new furniture, but to me, that's a little bit more project-based. The goal was to get here and get settled. And so that's a more nebulous thing, but what does that look like when it's done? That we have furniture here, that we're getting settled. So it really depends on how you define things, but I very much encourage you to be inspired by some of this and to look at things and go, you know what, I'm not going to have any goals this year. I'm just going to go off some strategies. And that's definitely what I did the last couple years, was just like, you know what, I just cannot be goal oriented right now. And I'm just going to write out strategies so that I can maneuver and get through some hard times, high energy. I'm washing my hair. I'm having my full skin routine. I'm putting on a fragrance. Like that's like high energy for me. Low energy, putting on clean clothes, washing your face, putting on some lotion, brushing your teeth, putting on lip balm. Like sometimes we are just surviving and we just still need to kind of take care of ourselves. And that can be very hard. And with everything going on, sometimes we just need some strategies to keep even and not have extra expectations of ourselves. but we can't, but we have to kind of refill our buckets somehow, whether it's through care, whether it's others taking care of us, whether it's creativity, whether it's something needs to kind of flow back into your bucket somehow. And that's what some of these strategies are, is just to kind of try to keep it even. So wherever you are on your journey, whether you're there, whether you want to do some gentle goals, whether you have business goals, I would love to hear how you're doing that this year. Like what would really make sense for you to try, even for a few months. And guess what? The pages are still there. They're still sitting there. If you don't mark anything on them, it's okay to have blank pages and go, you know what? Halfway through the year, maybe I'm ready for a goal or two. Maybe that's my time. You can start a goal at any point, and there's no reason to like have them on January 1st. I enjoy the reset part of it because it just comes at a natural time for me to look back and to also look forward. And you can do that on your birthday, your chosen birthday, a friendship day, maybe if you married your spouse or got together with them, or your partner or something, like that day where you're coming together, you guys can make goals together. Maybe you celebrate departing from a partner and it's something that you can take a fresh outlook and make new goals or just new strategies off of that. It can be whatever you want it to be, whatever day of the year. It's just at the scale of it. Like, do you want to be dipping your toes into it every day? Or do you want to revisit it again, like halfway through the year? Is it something that brings you joy? Or is there something you really need to do? It could be school related. You're going back to classes, but then how do you gently focus on that and give yourself time? That's definitely very goal oriented because the goal is to pass for that semester or quarter. And sometimes, we don't do all this work and we achieve our goal anyway. So, and that's kind of how I felt last year. Was I didn't have it all mapped out. I didn't have it as this like singular goal. I guess the only thing that made our move a goal was this. It's a tiny little picture of a plane, and I called it a portal because it was a transition from where we were to where we are now. And this was enough to get us here. I mean, there were a lot of other thoughts in our minds, but first we just visited here to make sure that we wanted to come here. And this could symbolize, at first it was just symbolizing, hey, we're going to travel there, we're going to see it, and we're going to see how it feels. And now, then it also represented the move here. And yeah, it just sometimes, that's all it takes to look at that every day. And I did kind of keep that photo in mind all year. So that's why I love putting a little kind of mood board together for that. And especially for my business now, to be able to kind of like visualize those numbers, to visualize myself there, to visualize what can be, because I think that is really strong. But it's also like you can still just do you. You don't have to have grand goals in mind. You don't have to have what other people have as goals at all. And this could be very private, so that it's just something that you see and that you keep very close to heart, and just know that it's going to mean a lot to you as next year progresses. And then there's always things that happen during the year that's going to throw a wrench in things. So it can be that we get sick part of the year, or that we get hurt or something, or we have need more mental support, or we need to find a new medication, or we need to you know, care for a loved one. I mean, there's so many things that this next year may bring that slow this process down, but pay attention to like what actually is done. Like what is your version of the goal being completed or done, you know? And maybe it's that I read or listened to one book this year. And that's something that is achievable. And that is the momentum that carries you forward. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to hear your comments below. Please share them. Like and subscribe if you want to hear more from me. If there are concepts in this video that you would love broken down, like one person asked the question, what does spinning and what does stuck mean? I would love to kind of break that down further, and I hope that's more clear now. But yeah, I wish everyone a happy new year, and take care, everyone. I will see you next time. Bye.